There is a mystery operating in the silence of the universe, an invisible law, gentle yet relentless, that dictates the fate of your greatest dreams. Go back in time for a moment and think about that project you once desired so deeply, that healing you prayed for in tears, that financial breakthrough or the restoration of your family. Think about the last time you did everything right. You entered the secret place, felt absolute peace in your chest, and had an unshakable certainty that the miracle was guaranteed. But suddenly, at the final stretch, reality short-circuited. Everything went cold. The miracle slipped through your fingers and disappeared. For years, you carried a weight that was never yours. You laid your head on the pillow thinking God had changed his mind. You questioned whether you were truly worthy of that blessing. Or worse, religion made you believe that some dark force was stronger than your faith. Take a deep breath and pay close attention to what I'm about to teach you. Heaven did not change its mind. The universe did not reject you, and evil had no authority to steal what was yours. What happened was simply a mechanical failure, a broken protocol you committed because no one ever taught you how matter behaves before it is born. You didn't lose your miracle because of lack of faith. You lost it out of innocence. Today, we are going to enter the deepest immersion of our entire journey. We will sit in absolute silence to hear what Jesus taught about the extreme fragility of a dream. Jesus understood the invisible mechanisms of creation better than any scientist. He knew perfectly well that the most delicate moment of a healing, a rescue, or prosperity is not when you make the request. The moment of greatest danger is exactly when the blessing is in a state of gestation, just a millimeter away from materializing in the physical world. That is why he left us a protection code, a maximum security rule recorded in Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. Jesus looked at his listeners and said, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine." Religion interpreted this superficially, teaching that it was merely a metaphor about not speaking sacred things to bad people. But Jesus was not giving a lesson on morality. He was revealing the observer effect. He was teaching you, with love and urgency, the law of silence. He wanted to protect you. He knew that our human desire to share joy, to tell others about the projects and breakthroughs on the way, ends up exposing something sacred and fragile to the radiation of other people's doubt. But for you to take full control of your reality today and never again lose a project at the finish line, we must go to the root of this teaching. What exactly did Jesus call a pearl, and why does the simple gaze of an external observer have the invisible power to shatter your miracle in the air before it even reaches your hands? Forget everything religion told you about this verse. They taught you it was just a simple metaphor, but Jesus did not waste words. He was giving you the hidden mechanics of how a miracle dies in the invisible realm. To understand the shock of this revelation, you must ask, why did Jesus choose the pearl and the pig? Why not gold and the wolf? Why not diamond and the serpent? There is a biological and spiritual code hidden here. Gold is found in the earth. A diamond withstands fire and pressure, but a pearl is the only treasure on earth generated inside a living organism. It is born in the depths of the ocean, from a wound. When a grain of sand enters the oyster and hurts it, it begins to secrete layers of healing around that pain, in total darkness. The pearl is your miracle. It is the healing of that incurable disease, the solution to that debt that keeps you awake, the restoration of your family. It is an answer from heaven being formed layer by layer, in silence, within you. And there is a lethal rule in the biology of the oyster. If you open it and expose the pearl to sunlight too early, the process dies instantly. And here is where the most terrifying secret of this teaching comes in. What happens when you, driven by excitement, open your oyster too soon and tell your dream to the people around you? Jesus said, "Do not cast your pearls before swine." Why the pig? Look at the anatomy of that animal. The pig is the only farm creature whose cervical spine prevents it from looking up. A pig cannot look at the sky. It is designed to look down, at the dirt, at the mud. Jesus was not insulting your friends or family. He was describing a type of mind, a mind that cannot look up. It cannot see the miracle. It only sees dense matter, the medical report, the economic crisis, the impossible. When you take your newborn project, your healing that just began, and share it with a mind that only sees the mud, something terrible happens in the invisible realm. Modern science calls it the observer effect, but Jesus already knew it 2,000 years ago. The look of that person, their hidden doubt, skepticism, disguised envy, or even pity emits a paralyzing radiation. When their mind tries to process your miracle, it sends a signal of impossibility. Their disbelief collides directly with your faith. Jesus described what happens in that exact millisecond, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. The skeptical gaze tramples the frequency of your miracle. The energy dissipates. The door that was opening in heaven closes. The money that was on its way stalls. The miracle is aborted, not because God withdrew his hand, but because you exposed it to a radiation it was not strong enough to withstand. Do you realize the danger your own tongue represents to your future? If this still feels abstract, hold your breath. The book of Genesis records one of the most disturbing cases in history, a man who held the greatest promise of his generation, but opened his mouth at the wrong time. Genesis 37 documents a fatal mistake. God gave Joseph a dream of authority, a perfect pearl newly formed in the invisible. The document of possession was already signed in heaven. He only needed to keep it in silence until it materialized. But driven by excitement and the need for validation, he shared it with his brothers, men of scarcity and envy. In that instant, the oyster was opened too soon. Their envy collided with the promise. They didn't debate, they threw him into a pit and sold him as a slave. The promise didn't die, but the price of his mistake was 13 years of suffering, all because he couldn't stay silent. How many pits have you dug for yourself because you couldn't stay silent? How many dreams have you delayed because you needed validation from minds that vibrate doubt? You are handing the blueprint of your castle to people who cannot build a hut. But how do you protect your miracle today? Jesus showed the exact protocol. In Mark 5, before raising Jairus' daughter, he removed all doubters from the room, and after the miracle, he commanded silence. In Mark 1, after healing a leper, he said, "Tell no one." Why? Because a miracle is like a seed. If you dig it up to show others, it dies. The law is simple. What is born in the Spirit needs silence to survive. Work in silence. Pray in silence. Move in silence. Let the final result make the noise your mouth wants to make. When the result is undeniable, they will see. Until then, your mouth is a lock and your mind is a vault. Now close your eyes, seal your mouth, and repeat, "Father, I seal my mouth in this moment. My miracle is not a spectacle. It is a protected seed. I release the need for validation. My miracle will grow in silence until it becomes reality. Amen." It is done. Open your eyes. The lock is sealed.